Welcome back to the Recoup Daily Check-In. Today is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Sid just got back from his vacation. I'm in a new spot. This is quarter 3, 2025. I'm
Wow.
Sweets. This is Sid. I don't even know where to start us off. Do you have somewhere you want to kick us off, or do we just start talking? Do I start talking about what we've been shipping?
Yeah, let's just start there. We left off with, let's just take the next 2 weeks to get errors and improvements. So start with what you've been shipping.
We've been focused on errors and improvements. I'll share the full list that we've been working through, and we can start there. You able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So this was the list that we had originally started with. Knowledge base tool was replacing the file. We wanted it to add a new file. Create new artist was creating a ton of chats that should have just gotten fixed yesterday. AI SDK v5, we took a stab at it and are still opting to wait until it is in a more stable state. Anthropic rate limit is still happening. I'm leaning towards getting off of Anthropic onto a model that isn't using rate limits as a method to try to upsell into enterprise. Initial response time has been fixed. Really fast response times now. Row level security is done on Supabase tokens. Update end screen. YouTube login continues the conversation. YouTube tokens are now based off of artists instead of a human. When you click on a video, it shows you all the info for that video. Email tool is always sending from Hyatt Recoupable, so there's less variation and less errors. So most of the lists we got, we didn't get AI SDK v5, Anthropic rate limits, Apify comments. I got skipping of duplicates, and what I'm working on now is I'm shifting into segments and fans. I'm working into segments and fans now. YouTube app needs to get verified. We just shipped the privacy page, which was one of their feedbacks. So the next step is I just need to record a new video and then submit it. And any feedback on this list before I go into the list that I've sent out for this week?
No, awesome.
So continuing to move, we currently have more devs. I don't know if you can see, but we've got Veerbal, you know and love him. Roman is a new dev on the team, and I've got him helping out with tasks inside of the Recoup repo, like logout needed to redirect us back to the homepage. He just fixed that. He's now working on the YouTube Connect button. When we were on the call with Steph's impression was she opened up the artist profile and she typed in the YouTube channel. We're updating that now to have a YouTube button, so that if instead of Steph going and typing in a channel, she clicks the button, goes through the auth flow, and then auto connects the account, and then you can see that connected account in the artist pop-up. And I'm thinking this is how we do OAuth, but that's one of the things I'm curious of your feedback on. So I'll pause there. Do you have does this, in terms of having accounts that we just manually search and then store the account versus accounts that we get their OAuth permission so that way we can take actions on their behalf, does it make sense to put it all right inside of this artist profile, or do you think it makes sense to kind of break them out in their two distinct things from end experience flow?
I think it makes sense for now to do it in here.
Agreed.
Cool. The one other thing that I was thinking about for that YouTube flow, it's not a make or break, but it's like a P1, P2 after, if you can add onto it. Should we add the ability to OAuth the YouTube artist during create new artist as well? So it's one of the things that the agent asks the user to do in the process.
It's a great thought. My follow-up question would be, do all artists get prompted for that? Or do we search to see if they have a YouTube account first somehow? And only if they do, then we say, hey, we found a YouTube account. Would you like to OAuth into it? Give them a button. And then the other question would be at what step? Because if we put that, well, I guess instead of what step, would that be a blocking thing and it stops when it asks for that? Or would the conversation continue to go and it just leaves the button there on the screen?
I think continue. Like no
So it would
blocking.
kind of show a button and be like, hey, connect your YouTube, show a button, but then it
Like
continues to do its deep research.
yeah, I'm trying to think of the best flow. The easiest flow would be to just add it at the end. Okay, thanks for doing everything. Do you want to connect your YouTube? Like
Right.
easiest lift. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, it's adding it so that it scrapes YouTube into the deep research. So before deep research artists scrape, it has access to the YouTube, so it can pull that data. But yeah, so and then the addition of that would be like it automatically searches YouTube, finds the account, and says, "Hey, you have one. Connect like that." So I would opt with whatever's easiest, and then anytime add more.
So start for now at the end of the artist deep research flow, show a button to allow people to connect to YouTube. If they do, the conversation continues automatically by getting the videos, showing that other stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Here's the list that I have us on right now for this week that I sent on Monday. We already did the create new artist bug that should be fixed. It got fixed yesterday. I haven't seen it going off today, but I also don't know if we've had any new signups today. This one, again, I've got the skip duplicates. I have not done the unpaid. When I try to go into this, I start to wonder how are we check what's our true source of truth for paid versus unpaid, and makes me want to talk more about our payment and privacy page is done. OAuth buttons being worked on. I keep wanting to throw music generation in for my own personal usage. Did you see the ads, the user generated content I've been releasing on my own channel this week for Recoup?
Yeah.
So I want to keep expanding on that, and I want to. Right now, it's using 11 Labs to do audio generation, and I think music is a much cooler ad doing jingles, and so I want to be generating jingles for those videos. And so whether we use Marika or Lyria from Google, there's now more and more of these. It seems like that's the phase we're in, is video generation is where it's at. CC Param is being worked on by Veerball right now. This was something that was highlighted by ef.studio, and now we're caught up. So that's everything that has been shipped, all the changes in the devs, and where our current focus is. I'll pause there to see if you have any directions you want to take the combo.
We have 1 minute unless you have another call.
I don't have another call after this.
All right, so give me a time that you want to cut this off at, so I don't ramble forever and I have some kind of cap.
Let's double the call length and go an extra 15 most. So 1:15 my time, 2:15.
Wow! I was thinking I was going to get another 5 minutes. You just gave me another 15 sweets. Jesus.
Yap it off. You're back from vacay. Let's see everything you got in store.
I'm so excited.
27 people are watching. You're getting the first stream of consciousness from Sid after vacay. Let's see what he's got.
Dude, I'm so excited. All right. Well, I don't want to overload in the middle of a sprint. So everything that actually, let me just say that out loud again. I don't want to overload sweets in the middle of a sprint. Okay, sweets. Besides the music tool, what else are you excited about?
Payment. Queues for scheduled actions, because that's another errors. I thought I was getting queues for scheduled actions. The segments having fans as well as fans is a prerequisite, but the overarching one is segments. That's what I'm currently focused on personally. And for my own needs, having a more end-to-end video creation, because right now I have to jump across a lot. I use Recoup to generate the image, and I use Recoup to generate the script, and then I leave the platform to go to 11 Labs. But something that allows me and other people to generate user-generated content that seems like it's in the meta right now, and I also have needed it in my own personal practice. So video, like end-to-end video generation. Those are the initial ones that come to mind. Tossing it back to you, what are the things that are exciting you that came into your mind while you were on vacay or during this call?
So I am really excited about Chill Pill's album because I created it. And now I am in the position of an artist. Like, I am now our target audience. And it's so crazy, Sweets, to be here and feel stuck as an artist. And then the reality of like, okay, how do I use Recoup? And I'm seeing like where my limitations are hit. Sweets, you need to do this. Go create an EP with Suno, whether it's you're an artist or whether it's your made up artist, whatever the fuck it is, little EP, create it, put it on SoundCloud, or however, like just be, this experiment is fucking wild to me. It's fucking wild because I literally, I'm an artist and I don't know what, like now, like I'm now, it's like, okay, cool. What do I do? I have so many choices. What distributor do I use? When do I release my music? What should I do? How do I promote it? What should I do? Like it's all happening to me right now. And so it fucking puts right in front and center the dog fooding of, it's the greatest dog fooding event we can do for ourselves. So I'm just really excited about that. I highly, highly suggest trying it.
I saw I might not have a place on the team anymore if I'm not releasing music.
Oh no, did you like that?
I saw it on your story.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, yo, like that would be like, because I was thinking about Verbal and like, does he have any idea who our customers are and what he's building and why? And like, or is he just, all right, cool, I'm just shipping, like to ship, you know? And like, how much more powerful it would be to have the experience of the artist be in their shoes and like be like, oh my goodness, it's like, yeah. Like, so anyways, I just thought that was a really powerful, it was a powerful moment for me to realize like why some artists might be unsubscribing. Like why, like what problem are we really solving for artists versus researchers at labels? Like I think we're really good at that right now, but like from an artist isn't a researcher. So what do we need to put on autopilot so an artist doesn't need to be a researcher, but they're still getting the data? And then like, does the artist need to see that research or does another agent need to see that research in order to then go make other decisions? And it's like, things start to get really cool when you realize that an artist alone in their bedroom is a lonely world and really intimidating. And there's so many fucking options for them that it's hard being an artist.
So your biggest limitations in your head right now are distributor and promotion, or are there other things that have been in your head that you want to add to the list? Is Chill Pill's album the biggest focus that you're coming in with?
So Chill Pill's album was one of the biggest focus because it like, but it just led me to like realize like a lot of cool little things that we could do that may enhance it. Not necessarily for, again, going back to like, well, what is our focus like on our core customers and the SAMs and the steps and understanding them versus like ourselves and dog fooding ourselves to identify issues. And while I want to focus on the core customers and get in and build tools specifically for them, I also don't want to forget about independent artists and what we're really building towards. But they're so hard to dog food with because they're doing their own thing and, you know, they all don't really know what they want. So if we can dog food as an independent artist ourselves, so it's like we're building tools for us as artists and then our core customers as industry labels. I think that is the best of both worlds. One of the bigger hurdles that I like, going back to what you were saying with like jumping from platform to platform for video, like right now there's no I personally I don't have a specific storage solution for for all of my content, album assets, rollouts, all of that. Like there's a folder on my computer, but like there's nothing that's not local that is like a home base for all of my assets. Where and I think it would be beneficial if we had an option of that in Recoup, because that would be data that would be beneficial to us. So like place to store all the MP3s, store all of the image assets created, all of the research, all everything around the rollout of the asset or whatever, to make it into more of a home base would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, like, yeah, just being able to distribute would be fucking fire. Right now, I set it up on SoundCloud to distribute to Spotify. For some reason, it still hasn't been released on Spotify. It was supposed to be released before vacation. I haven't got an email. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So like, a huge problem is that I can't figure out how to release my music on anything other than SoundCloud right now. And I have to go like jump through hoops to figure this out. And then promoting it automatically and smartly is the second biggest lift. So those are the two big ones.
What do you think is if you only had one of those, what do you think the most important missing piece is right now? Is it that distribution, or is there a different part of the puzzle? Is it the home base for all assets most important?
I don't know. I want your take. Go launch an artist. and then like let's have a long talk about maybe not on Friday or this week, but like at some point over the next couple weeks. Like I think it's a longer discussion that we need to sit down and really understand and talk through. I don't know the answer. Distribution seems like it would be beneficial, but then again, like if I distribute and then like I have no content plan, like and no way of, then I'm going to feel like a failure if my song gets one play on Spotify. So what's more valuable? Dropping the song, setting up TikTok and then dropping the song on TikToks and building up some automated, virality there and then doing distribution, or vice versa. Like there's so many layers to this shit. But Sam keeps asking for the TikTok thing. So I think that's something also important.
And double clicking on that, Excelencia is dropping he's got a new song coming out on the 11th or the 16th of July, Fenty. And he's posting about it on Instagram Reels. And so he's doing videos of him in the studio playing it in the background. Broxillian, a musician from Chile, is doing the same thing. He just did a collab with this girl named Jessie Fries, and they're doing an exclusive launch on Audius. And so right now on Audius on one day and then on all streaming platforms the next. And so what you just said of artists are releasing it in short form content first, where they announce the plan so that people like me know the date and I tell it to other people like you. And now it's in a YouTube video where everybody knows the date. And then when it actually gets live, everybody is already aware. People are already going to put that into their calendar. I'm ready to be streaming Fenty and the Jessie Fries song. So that video generation, being able, maybe not even the generation, but just the scheduling and the posting of the client on TikTok and Instagram. For me to create the music, I would love to be able to do it inside of Recoup instead of me having to go onto Suno. I would personally, because I already want to be doing it inside of Recoup for the jingles. It seems like a two bird, one stone. If we pick either Lyria or Marika, what's the algorithm that we want, then I can generate my music inside and do my rough drafts to final drafts inside of Recoup.
I like it. I will say that Suno is light years ahead of other models. like
Really?
light. Yeah, from a quality perspective, like fucking light years ahead of the other models. That's not to say that the other ones won't get there, and so we shouldn't do it. But yeah, like it's also not to say that they'll probably end up doing an API and et cetera. So like, I guess just integrating the music generation portion is important. Yeah, and then client and on TikTok and Instagram, but I'd say TikTok first because that seems to be the go-to.
Distributor, promotion, home base, clients. I think your point about they're only going to get better is something to focus on. What is the better use of my time to go onto a UI like Suno, who has had a major lead and still doesn't have an API, and using their UI, or us picking a winner that we think that does have an API and is going to get better? Is it Google or is it the Chinese competitor of Marika? Putting a bet on the API provider that we think is going to radically improve and allowing us to use them, learn how to get good at them, putting our data into their system so that they can improve based off of what we're doing. Do you still think it? Do you think it's still worth the time for me to go and learn and use Suno? Yeah.
Oh, do I think it's worth your time to use Suno?
Instead of integrating an API for us to have it inside of Recoup and to have that tool offered inside of our own platform instead of me going off platform.
I think it's yes, because that was the first thing you said that was you were excited about was integrating music. So 1,000%, it's worth your time.
Integrating music or leaving our platform to go to Suno?
Integrating music.
Do you have an initial gut take on which one's going to provide higher quality music output between Google's Lyria and Marika, which is already on V2? And now actually, if you go to Marika, you can actually use their UI. Before you only could access it via API, and now you can go onto their UI and enter in a prompt.
Do Marika because I have the API keys set up and you have them already, so it's going to be quicker. I would build it in a way that it's easy to just swap if we get both keys and let the user choose. I think that's like something that we're hitting currently, but I know it'll be fixed with V5 of SDK, but like making it really easy to swap models if we hit rate limits or something fails or something gets better.
What are your thoughts on switching away from Anthropic onto a different model like Gemini or?
I'm fine with it. Actually, let me rephrase that. Instead of switching, I would rather let the user choose. So I would rather add Gemini so that if they do hit a rate limit, we can, like, the error can be like, hey, you hit a rate limit, switch models to continue, and then that'll switch to the 2 million token model of Gemini, and that should work. Mm-hmm. And that'll also start us from allowing multi-model, or let the user choose their model or whatever.
Do you have any initial thoughts on where that model selection would be? Would it be present in the default chat layout, or would it be somewhere else in the human experience?
I would do default chat layout. I would just follow OpenAI's drop down.
Top left?
Yeah, top left, exactly. The one thing we need to consider is we currently are only using reasoning models.
Yep.
And so we want to make sure
we want to continue to use reasoning models. Agreed.
Yeah.
Album, I have 5 points written: distribution, promotion, home base for all assets, clients, TikTok and Instagram, and music gen.
I would remove the 3 that I added randomly: distribution, promotion, and
home base for assets, and keep clients and music gen.
In your head. Yeah, in your head. You don't need to do it. Obviously, like, we're in a sprint right now. We could talk on Friday more deeply about things. But yeah. So yeah, just focus right now, I guess 100%. Let's like focus on the rate limit because that was the biggest error that we want to fix ending this sprint. Whether it's swapping Anthropic or did you try the thing that you had suggested before, which was just not giving reasoning in memory?
We have not tried that. We have not tried that. That is an option. That is an option. I'm wondering if other teams are hitting this or if it's just us. Like, are there production grade teams building on top of Anthropic, or is everybody moving on to? Because Gemini is a 10x token limit on what Anthropic does with 1/10 the cost, so more limit with lower cost.
Cursor has the option for
You're right. Cursor defaults to Anthropic. That's a good point. They default to it, and they are using a gateway, and so it might. Maybe I just need to bite the bullet and I focus on updating us to V5, because each time I throw it to Veerbal says it's a big rewrite, and then he pushes back on it and I let him push back. And so maybe I just need to do the big rewrite and get us onto V5. And when I say that, I wonder, is that a misstep? Is it stable enough? Is it going to be a deeper hole? But that is what is the solution I should be focused. If the single thing right now, I'm focused on fans and segments. Do I put fans and segments off to the side and focus on the rate limit for the rest of this week? Or do I keep focusing on fans and segments while we think about how we want to fix rate limit going into next week?
I think continue your path. I don't want to throw you off your path. But keep in mind, rate limit was the biggest cause of errors previously.
Agreed.
So there is a band-aid fix that Veerbal can do, like adding Gemini as a retry or something that's like not new architecture build, etc. But will still solve the problem of at the end of the day, the problem is the error. People are hitting the errors that we want to lower error rates. So what is the simplest way that we can do that?
To wrap up, do you want to go into the Q3 goals and have us just refocus our attention on there, so that way we leave this talking about? Do you have that easily accessible? Or?
I do. Let me share it. All right, so first let's jump in here and see where we're at. I don't think this is correct.
A lot of that is from the new chat error. A lot of that has got to be from, we get like 100 messages that all throw rate limit when the create new artist bug happened. That should be fixed as of today. So hopefully that doesn't happen anymore.
Awesome. I also want to preface by saying this, Zach, he's been an early user, but he never really sent anything. And over the last week or two, he's increased his usage. So that's awesome.
Welcome back, Zach.
Yeah. Steph still hasn't set up scheduled actions, man. So like something that I need to think through is like, how do we make it easier for people to set up scheduled actions? And then one new power user that's on fire. Let me go back to 30. And let me sort by consistency.
Yeah, EF's been in there recently. I've seen him all over.
Look at that, 243. He's killing it with 6 scheduled actions.
Yeah, he's been setting up a lot of scheduled actions recently. In the past day or two, he has been very active.
Fuck yeah. So we need to get on the phone with him. We need to. Sam's killing it with 4. Sam is getting us great feedback. He keeps sending us new ideas. So we'll talk on Friday about that. And then secondhand talent is always up here, man.
Steph says 2 scheduled actions there.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't, she didn't schedule the actions in the 7 days. So she must have set them up before that. So that's good. All right, cool. 4 days active. All right, so we're doing good on that. And then let's pull this up real quick. All right. Key results. Number 1, grow product market fit survey from 15 to 45. Where are we at now? All right, we're still at 15. So it hasn't gone up or down. I don't know why it says negative 12. Maybe last week it went down and then we went back up. Create 10 weekly power users. And look at this. Boom. From 1. So I guess most important question, Sweets, is what can you do
to increase the power users?
Yeah. Close 1 enterprise customer with 5K contract. Working on it. I have a call actually with APG next week, and I re-hit up Benji to see what's going on. So I'm just going to just dive more into the potentials and then double down on our power users that could hit this. And then success metrics required for each new feature ticket. So we haven't really launched any new features, so we don't really have to get into that one right yet. But cool. Where we're at, 1 up in the right direction.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'll stop sharing. Sweet. Anything else? Any thoughts? Final words of wisdom? Did I just overload you with all of my list of things?
No, now we've got new stuff. It's good to have new ideas in the backlog.
Okay, good.
No, this is all good. I'm not overwhelmed at all. I'll keep focusing on segments and fans, and we've got a lot to throw in the pipeline, and we've got 2 devs that are chomping at the bit to get new tickets. So name of the game is prioritization and delegation.
Oh, you're working on segments though.
Segments and fans, right? Fans is the prerequisite to get to segments.
Got it. So the question that I would have to you to summarize everything, or the last KR, or the last key result, is
how do we measure?
How do we measure what and not what do you consider success when we launch this? I would consider success if X amount of segments, if users did X or Y or Z, or like whatever you decide you think you want it to make it, and then tell me how you need me to set it up for the measure, like to set up the dashboard to measure it. Because that will also inform how you go about giving Verbal the UI request for it.
Yeah.
To hit your goal.
My immediate thought is number of social profiles with segments. Not necessarily the number of segments generated, but the number of profiles that have a non-zero number of segments. So number of socials, because so far I've been building I've been building segments and fans around a social profile, not around an artist, because a social can be shared by multiple people who have a different artist ID. And so that would allow, if Steph generates a segment for Excellencia and I also have Excellencia, those segments can be shared into mine, but maybe that is an accurate way to think about it if Steph is curating segments for her specific requirements, which might differ based off of my version of Excellencia and hers. Do you?
I see what you're saying for both sides. I think that building it so that both can be used for Excellencia, like so that we're not scraping twice and like storing twice, I think that's the right way to go about it. Figuring out how Steph would want to use it. No, I think you're building it right.
Okay. Focus it on a social profile, which is a lower level instead of an artist, which would give more ability to differentiate between people using it. But like you say, will create potentially more duplication across profiles.
Yeah, exactly. And we can always add on the artist layer after, right?
Correct. That can be another set of segments. You're right. What do you think of the KPI I'm suggesting of number of socials with non-zero number of segments?
How does it directly correlate to increasing power users? Your other KPI? Because if you could connect those dots, then you win.
My current thinking around power users or scheduled actions are the hack. If I get people to set up scheduled actions that they don't physically need to open up the app is running every day, and then they're automatically becoming power users.
Fire. So then I would say, how do you get more people to schedule actions
Around segments?
around segments?
Immediate thought is number of scheduled actions relating to segments. So we would want to track how many scheduled actions are related to segments. Currently scheduled action, and then the question becomes, well, how do we know if a scheduled action is related to segments? Is it just that the scheduled action text includes the word segments?
I'm dancing because you're now in my head as I'm building the dashboard. So now we're in it together. Fuck yeah. No, like we don't have to answer the question now, but it's just like a most important question, thought experiment of when you're building this, how do we measure it and how do we set it up so that the measurement also helps as much as it can with the other shit. And also the simplest lift too. It might just be like, no, let's just measure scheduled actions. I mean, segments generated, and then we'll build it out from there. Like we can always expand on the data, but I'm just curious to know, like, if we launch it, how many how many segments generated, or whatever your KPI is, are required for you to like sit back and be like, fuck yeah, I shipped something and it worked. And it did what I wanted it to do.
Rounding out this combo where I'm thinking of the KPI, either number of socials with non-zero number of segments or number of scheduled actions related to segments. The latter I'm thinking is more important, number of scheduled actions related to segments.
Cool. All right.
Anything else on your side?
I'm good, man. I appreciate the extra 30. We had a extra.
That's what we do. We set limits and then we go beyond them. If you stuck around this long, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe so you can stick along for the journey as we ship these new features. Leave us a comment down below if there's anything we haven't talked about that you want to see us ship, and we'll see you on Friday for our next stream. Thank you for tuning in.